welcome to Good Game Spawn Point, the show for younger gamers by gamers. I'm Bajo.
And I'm Hex.
And I am DARREN.
This week we go back into the wonderful magical world of Kingdom Hearts with a special HD remix edition.
Ah, it's so good to be brandishing a keyblade again.
Oh.
Come on! Plus we get a big dose of superhero action on the Wii U with the wonderful 101.
If you two were superheroes, what would your powers be?
Oh, I love the ability to play games in the back of my head while I'm doing something else, such as cooking or sleeping or playing video games.
I can do that, actually.
I think I'd choose the ability to fly.
I can do that too.
Well, you're a very talented robot, Darren. I'm gonna go read the news.
Hey, Darren, what would your superhero name be? What would you be? Super Daz? Super Darren?
The Metallic Maestro?
Oh, that's nice. What would mine be? The Brilliant Bajo, yeah.
Average man.
Hex here with all the news from around the gaming world. A gamer by the name of Lil Tommy J has created a song called Console Wars using only game console noises and various game-related sounds. The sounds include opening game boxes, dropping discs, and playing with a controller. Who knew you could get such a good beat out of a PS3? A League of Legends player known as Civ HD has raised over $100,000 for charity in a single gaming session. Civ's original goal was to live stream himself playing League of Legends until he raised $50,000 in donations. However, after achieving that goal quite quickly, he promised to continue playing until he reached a higher target of $100,000, or until he couldn't stay awake any longer. After 12 hours of gaming, Civ reached $106,000, which will go to children in need.
So my best superpower would be shooting sandwiches from my eyes.
Okay guys, it's time to review another Kingdom Hearts game that isn't Kingdom Hearts 3. Yay!
Yay. I have calculated that out of the multiple Kingdom Hearts games we have analysed, not one of them has been a proper numbered sequel in the series. They've all been spin-offs.
Yes, well, at least Kingdom Hearts 3 has actually been announced now, so we know it's coming. And while we wait for that, we have the chance to go all the way back to where it all started with Kingdom Hearts 1.5 HD ReMIX.
As well as including a HD version of the original game, ReMIX also comes with Rechain of Memories, which was never released in Australia, as well as all the cutscenes from 358 Days Over 2.
Like I asked, know-it-all.
Both of which have been remastered in high definition. So much HD.
This actually contains the final mix of the original game, which was a slightly edited version of the original that was also never released in Australia.
So this is actually 2 remade remakes and a bunch of cutscenes.
Affirmative.
As it begins, we find Sora having an ominous nightmare about tsunamis, but he wakes to find all is well with his friends on their little island.
But they're bored of the cruisy beach life, so they set about building a raft to go find new worlds.
I guess I'm the only one working on the raft.
Little do they know that new worlds are about to find them as the worlds of Final Fantasy and Disney collide with their little slice of paradise.
Guys, I know that this has always been a really popular franchise, but I have to wonder how relevant characters like Cloud and Donald Duck are going to be to younger gamers. I mean, we haven't seen characters like Donald Duck or Goofy in anything for years, and well, Final Fantasy VII came out 16 years ago.
Yeah, some characters stand the test of time, but sometimes I just can't remember. It's been a long time.
The combat does start off painfully simple, as you just have one basic attack. But once you finally get a party, some magic, and a few special moves, it gets enough depth to remain interesting.
Fire! Fire! I've got to admit though, it's a great nostalgic trip journeying through all those Disney worlds.
Yeah, it is, but I found the menus really hard to navigate and understand. I was playing for a few hours before I realised I had to actually equip my special moves. I also found the camera really fiddly, and I'm just used to games holding your hand a bit more now too with all of this sort of stuff, so it was like a step back in time, but a little bit punishing as well.
Well, graphically speaking, the HD treatment has worked wonders. The cartoony treatment just shines through, and most of the animations hold up really well. Some of the lip syncing is a little bit rough, but generally it's okay. What did you think of the other part of the package, Rechain of Memories?
Well, in full disclosure, we didn't spend as much time with this one, but it's also quite different. The combat is based more around the use of cards.
Goofy!
Between that and the story about everyone forgetting everything, I also found it quite confusing. But really, I think this part of the package is just the icing on the cake. It's the main game that people will enjoy.
Yeah, as for the cutscenes, well, that's almost 3 hours worth of viewing, and having already played through 358 Days Over 2, I didn't need to watch all of that ice cream eating again. But, you know, for people who want to revisit that story, they'll be really glad it's there. I mean, at the end of the day, this is about the fans. For lovers of Kingdom Hearts, being able to revisit this experience in HD is just a dream come true. I mean, for a fan, what more could you want?
Kingdom Hearts 3?
Well, yes, but from my experience, Kingdom Hearts fans will relish any opportunity to replay these experiences again, so I'm giving it 8.
I'm going to give it 8 as well. Shall we go off to the Ask Good Game desk?
Oh, good idea, Badge. Alright, well, these questions aren't going to answer themselves, Badge, so let's just get straight into them. We've got this one from Druv, who is in Perth, Western Australia. Hello, GGSP. This is the really first time I've sent a message. Now, here are my questions. 1. How do we get intranet on the 3DS? 2. How many people have gave you messages? Persist, please. 3. Have one of you finished the whole in-try game of New Super Mario Bros. 2? Please answer.
Well, Druv, to get internet on the 3DS, you just need to connect it to a wireless network. So, if you want to get that working at home, you'll obviously need an internet connection and a wireless router to turn that connection into a wireless network. It's a little bit complicated. You might need a grown-up to help you set this all up.
Then just go into the system settings on your 3DS, select the internet settings option, then connection settings, then select new connection. Select manual setup, then search for an access point to search for your wireless network.
Once it's found your network, select it and put in the password for your router. You'll probably need, once again, to ask a grown-up what that password is. Enter that and hit OK, and then hit OK again on the next 2 screens, and that's pretty much it. You should now finally have the internet on your 3DS.
As for how many people send us messages and questions, well, I'm not sure on the exact number, but I can give you an idea of how many. Just last week, for example, we received 1,489 messages from you spawnlings.
That's a lot of emails. And for how many we actually get the time to answer, how many, Hex, each week on the show?
About 6 or 7.
7? That's about all we really have time for on the show, but our GG team do reply to many, many more. As for if we finished the whole entire game of New Super Mario Bros. 2, well, we've got to the end, but we haven't finished it 100% and collected every star coin and that kind of thing.
Yeah, okay, well, let's move on to this one now from Aaron, who is in the Mushroom Kingdom.
I don't know which game to get this for. I have a Wii U and 3DS, and I want these games for it. Pokemon X and Pokemon Y. Super Mario 3D World, The Legend of Zelda The Wind Waker HD, Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze. Thank you if you respond, and if you don't, I'll become a noob. Fall, Hex. Fall. Hasn't fall already been? Fall is when the leaves fall, right? That's autumn.
It's autumn, yeah. So they must be in the Northern Hemisphere if fall's coming up for them.
An international question. I know that international question, no?
Well, Aaron, it's a tough choice that you've got there. All of those games look like they're going to be pretty great, so I'd say you should get all of them. But if you can only get one, well, it's hard to say since we haven't had a chance to review them yet. Well, I guess we should try and break it down.
Okay.
Okay. Pokemon X and Y is great for 3DS, so that's a great option if you tend to play games on the 3DS a lot, or if you're out of the house or going on holiday soon, maybe.
That's a good point. And Mario 3D World is probably the game there with the most interesting local multiplayer.
Yeah, play with friends.
So if you've got a few smallings in your house that you'd like to play with, then that's probably the best option.
But if you like big adventures and just want to enjoy an epic story by yourself, then Wind Waker would definitely be the one to go with.
And if you're just after some classic platforming action, then of course Donkey Kong would be our pick for that.
Well, Aaron, I think no matter what game you choose out of those, you'll be pretty happy. But of course, keep an eye out for our reviews and hopefully they can help you decide. But let's move on to this one now from Jazz Jam, who is in Sydney, New South Wales.
Have you ever made jazz jam before? Do you know what it is? Basically, you play jazz music and you make jam.
And it gets infused into the jam.
Yeah, and then the music is jazz, baby.
So when you spread it on your toes, it's like...
You don't know which way it's going, and then after about a month, you get totally sick of it.
Really? Hi GGSP, there's something been bugging me. Anyway, there was a cover of a game about Kingdom Hearts 3 for PS3 and game stores, and was wondering if KH3 is for PS3. PS, Bago do these. It spells kingdom. PPS, Hex, do the... And that spells hearts. I get it. Sorry to say, Jazz Jam, but no, Kingdom Hearts 3 is not coming out on PS3. At least they haven't said that it will.
Yes, and at the moment it's only been confirmed to come out on PS4 and Xbox One, so it looks likely that you're going to need a next-gen console to play it.
Sorry about that, Jazz Jam, but speaking of next-gen consoles, let's go to this question from Shiny Sword, who is on the Gold Coast in Queensland.
You stay classy, Jazz Jam. Jazz. If I buy a PS4, will it have free online like the PS3 has? I heard rumours you will need PS Plus. Sorry again, Shiny Sword, but those aren't rumours, they're cold, hard facts. You will indeed need to pay for a PlayStation Plus subscription to play online multiplayer games on the PS4.
But the good news is that PS Plus is a fairly generous service, usually lots of free game offers and discounts, so it's not such a bad deal, really. Also, some free-to-play online games won't need a membership either, so there should still be some free online gaming out there for PS4 players.
Yes, it is worth noting that it does cost a lot of money to run all the servers and infrastructure needed to create a solid online network, such as Xbox Live or the PlayStation Network.
All right, well, let's move along to this one from It's My Birthday, so please answer, from Geraldton in Western Australia.
Happy birthday!
Hi, GGSP. I want Hex to answer this one. I was just wondering if you can play Disney Infinity on the Wii. You see, it is my birthday soon and I really want to play it. Also, I'd just like to prove that there is no, I repeat, no French Perth. Now for the actual proof, you made up French Perth. Okay, you said that there was a place called French Perth when a Spalling wrote in a question from Pinjarra, but little did you know that Pinjarra is a place in Perth, WA. I should know, my nana lives there. Anyway, bye Hex, you're awesome, Bajo, you're boring, and Darren is not real, he is not Goose in a costume, Darren is just a metal thing with lights that flash, and once you stop filming, hey, edit in a voice.
Oh, well, first of all, I think you'll find that French Perth is definitely real, but its location is super secret, and you can only ever find it if you are French, or if you have a convincing French accent, as do we. Demonstration now, please.
Croissant!
French.
Fromage!
Je t'aime.
Je t'aime!
Oh, baguette! Omelette du fromage!
Yes, so we can touch you.
Yes.
You're here.
We're
in
having
our
this
presence.
conversation. That's proven up, I
Affirmative.
think,
As
that
you can
Darren
see,
is
I'm
real,
completely
so
real.
I think
Completely
that
real.
answers all of your questions.
Proof right there that Darren is real.
Yes.
Positive.
Now let's get on with answering the question, I think, shall we?
Affirmative. To answer your question, yes, you can indeed play Disney Infinity on the Wii. Oh, next question.
Okay, well, I think we've only got time for one more, Darren, so let's go with this one from,
Negative. Not that one.
really? Okay,
Further
well,
down.
this one?
One below that.
This one.
Affirmative.
Okay, well, this one's from Hexalicious, who is in Hexagon outside Australia. Hi, good game. I would like to know if there are any Wreck-It Ralph games for the PC, DS, or 3DS. P.S. Hex, could you answer this question? P.P.S. Stop stopping Darren singing. His singing is the best. Thanks, Hexalicious out.
Oh, you're too kind. You can dance. You can jive. Having the time of your life.
Stop it, Darren, stop it!
See that girl. Watch that scene. Digging the dancing queen.
All right, I think that's enough, Darren. Look, I know the Spawning asked us to let you sing, but I think answering the question might be a little bit more important than that, so...
Good point, X.
Take it
There
away.
are indeed Wreck-It Ralph games. On PC, you can play a free Flash version of Fix-It Felix Jr. from the movie. Also, Disney Infinity is getting a Wreck-It Ralph figurine featuring his own mini-adventure. It's not a full playset, but it is something. There is also a side-scrolling platformer released for DS and 3DS simply called Wreck-It Ralph. However, it isn't very good, so I would not recommend it.
Hex, has he stopped singing?
Yes, you could...
Has he stopped singing? I can't
take
hear
the-
you. Like, you speak louder.
All right, well, good work, Darren. I think we're out of time now, so if you'd like to ask us a question, then you can go here and send them in.
Okay, I'm just gonna take a risk.
Mamma mia! Here I go again. My, how can I resist? ABBA Swedish.
I don't know
They
ABBA.
come from Sweden and they're really good. I love ABBA.
It's getting too cluttered.
Yeah. Now, the Wii U is finally starting to see some games that set it apart, and one such game is the wonderful 101.
Aliens have invaded. Across the planet, 100 heroes, known collectively as the Wonderful 100, have answered the call to save humanity.
You may be wondering, if the game's called the Wonderful 101, why are there only 100 heroes?
Well, Darren, I think the game can do a better job explaining that than we can.
The alien invasion of Earth will be met by a group of fearless warriors that number just 100 souls. They are
The Wonderful
101! I knew we forgot someone. You.
This cheesy intro sets the tone for the entire game. It has a really strong sense of humour throughout, even in the music. While this game draws a lot of inspiration from anime and cartoons, it is very much a parody of 60s sci-fi like Thunderbirds, which your grown-ups may remember.
Speaking of inspiration, seeing this game in action, you can't help but be reminded of the Pikmin series. You recruit and control a horde of little minions which follow you around like a swarm. You use these little followers to help solve puzzles and fight big baddies.
This game is bright and bursting with colour and has a glossy cartoony style too. This lends itself to some pretty spectacular environments. But that's about where the similarities to Pikmin ends.
Yes, this game is about action, action, and more action. Then some puzzles, and then back to the action again. Each level has a very similar structure. After moving between pockets of enemies and a simple puzzle or two, you'll come across a minor boss fight. Eventually, you'll encounter the major boss fight for the mission, which is typically some form of jaw-dropping battle on a tremendous scale. While this formula gets a bit repetitive, the relentless pace and the desire to see which crazy set piece will come next just keeps you playing.
Affirmative. And that's because the combat is so interesting. Your arsenal is comprised of something called Unite Morphs, which mold your followers into shiny weapons. Each of these 7 major heroes has a unique morph which is activated by drawing their corresponding symbol, either with the right thumbstick, or by drawing it on the touchscreen. The more followers that go into the formation of the weapon, the more powerful it becomes! It's a strange concept, but you just grow to accept it.
I really like the touchscreen here. It's good for fast, on-the-fly changes in battle. Some enemies need to be taken down by specific heroes. This guy Spikes, for example, need to be ripped off with Wonder Pink's whip before he can be damaged.
Bad boy, time for a little punishment.
Aside from your major weapons, you can also launch your loyal followers at an enemy. They'll latch onto enemies and pick away at their health, which I guess is kind of a bit like Pikmin as well.
The fast pace of the game is helped by how forgiving the deaths are. When you die, you can continue from exactly where you were defeated. Enemies have the same amount of health when you died, so you continue on as if nothing happened. In fact, the only penalty is that you'll take a hit to your score for the mission.
Yes, and at the end of each operation, you're given a rank based on how efficiently you made it through the level. The better you do, the more credits you will earn. These points can then be spent on power-ups, new abilities, and delicious cakes and soups to restore health and power.
I thought it was interesting that some of the purchasable abilities were essential if you wanted to take out some enemies quickly. For example, the block and reflect ability is the only way to take out these standard tank units without a tediously long battle involving multiple deaths. I just felt like the necessity of those abilities should have been stressed a bit more.
Affirmative, but once you've fleshed out your abilities, it makes for some really fluid combat, and the control system shines. I actually think it's some of the best use of the gamepad we've seen on the Wii U. There are some really superb ideas.
I really liked the multi-screen action. In some circumstances, you'll need to concentrate on the action on both the main screen and the gamepad. It sounds challenging, but they've actually balanced the complexity of the tasks just right, so that it's chaotic, but not frustratingly difficult.
Yeah, I agree the ideas were great, but unfortunately the hardware lets the ideas down. On a number of occasions we experienced frame rate issues on the pad. We also encountered input issues with the touchscreen. For the most part it's pretty good, but it misinterpreted our drawings enough for it to become frustrating.
Affirmative. It's a shame because when it works, it's a great system. It almost makes QuickTime events fun. There's a cooperative multiplayer mode which allows up to 5 players. In typical Nintendo style, it's local multiplayer only, so you'll need some family members or visiting friends if you want to bash aliens cooperatively.
Yes, having said all that though, even with this game's issues, it's still one of the better Wii U games out there, and I think it deserves 8 out of 10 rubber chickens.
I agree with you, Barge. I'm giving it 8 as well. Well, that's all the time we have for this week.
Yes, and in fact, Hex and I have some very exciting news. Darren, don't blow a gasket, but Hex and I are going away for 2 weeks to the gaming capital of the world, Japan!
Oh, so exciting! Oh, we're going to Tokyo Game Show and everything. So, Darren, that means Goose is going to host the show with you while we're gone.
Yeah.
My own show!
No, you and Goose.
My own show!
Darren, it's not your own show. And also, don't go crazy and build weird things in the den of gaming. Keep everything exactly as it is.
Yeah, and you can't just lie around eating cheese toasted sandwiches as well. You got to do some real work.
Oh, negative. Goose and I are seasoned professionals. The show will be in very safe hands. In fact, I can show you the 2nd episode of that sitcom we've been working on. You know, as proof that we can make our own TV.
And also, watch out for the special guest.
Okay, well, let's see, Darren.
Roll the tape, Kerry!
Wait, special guest. It's you, isn't
Me,
it?
I'm the special guest.
Very special. Totally Incompatible is filmed in front of a live studio audience.
Ready. Oh, that's probably him, Darren.
Hey, are you ready for Friday night game night?
Let's do this. All right, Darren, can you get us some drinks, please?
Affirmative.
All right, now I thought we could start with a little bit of Grid 2 and then maybe do some Terraria. And then I think
Game night is my favourite night. I'll just take these drinks over first. Here you go, guys. Drink up.
Thanks, Darren.
Thanks, Darren. Whoa, look at this up!
Oh dear, we're running low on chips.
Darren, do you have any more chips? I don't like these ones.
Affirmative.
Darren, can you order some pizza, please?
I'll get right on it.
Darren, can you please make me some pizza tacos?
Affirmative.
Thank you.
Oh, I guess they don't need a 3rd player for that game.
Okay, why don't you pick the next game?
Sure.
Hey, Darren.
You're completely out of drinks and food, so I won't be able to fetch you anything.
No, Darren, I was going to sit this one out. Do you want to play?
Really? You'll let me play with you guys?
Of course, Darren. We can take it in turns.
Oh, perfect, because I just found my SingStar ABBA disc.
Darren!
I don't get it.
Oh, nice one, Darren. I really enjoyed that. Okay, I suppose I feel safe about leaving you in charge.
Famous last words.
Well, should we go pack our bags, Bajo?
Yeah, let's go get packing. Until 2 weeks from now, Bajo out.
Hex out. We'll tell you all about it when we get back.
Have fun! I'm the host for 2 whole weeks! 2 weeks!